Vanakkam, I'm Chennai Singapore Akshita Nandagopal, and as you can see, I'm very far from Chennai. I'm in the beautiful town of Rameswaram. I've been travelling across Tamil Nadu to get you a sense of what really is happening on the ground in the run-up to the elections. And I want to start off this edition with what happened in Madurai. After a long day of reporting and shooting, I decided to stop at a small food joint, and I had some local company with me for some very interesting political discussions. Take a look. So I've had a very long day of shoots, of roaming around Madurai, and then I stumbled upon this place. Look at the kind of parotas that they have on display here. When I saw these coin parotas and I saw the omelets, I decided to have a bit of food. And I decided that I'd get some company from some local people who tell us perhaps which is the best places to eat from. Joining me this evening is the Madurai Central MLA, Mr. Palanivel Thiagarajan. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us. I'm sure, I was just saying, I've had such a busy day. I'm sure you've had a busier day than me, campaigning all day. But I had reached out to you earlier, and you told me that there's one aspect of Madurai. There's one aspect of Madurai that I should explore, the nightlife, the street food.
Yeah. Madurai in Tamil we call it Tunga Nagaram, the city that never sleeps.
No, because when you talk about nightlife, what comes to our mind usually, at least from being in Chennai, is bars and pubs.
Yeah,
now, when you spoke of nightlife, I wasn't expecting this spread.
Yeah, I think, nightlife can vary between the legal and the illegal. I don't think historically there were things like bars and pubs. I'm sure there's always been some form of alcohol and some form of other kinds of nightlife, if you will. But for us, we mean you can eat really interesting and good food almost any time of the night.
So, let's dig in, because it's lovely, it's piping hot food. Is this a popular hangout for you? Every day after campaigning, do you come here, sit down for dinner?
Unfortunately, I don't have that much luxury, but I was first introduced to this place because I used to be a student for 2 years at a school very near here.
When you talk about the history of this place, 100 years old, I hear some of the biggest leaders Tamil Nadu scene have actually come here and eaten where I'm sitting right now.
Yeah. So, Aringer Anna, Kalaignar Karunanidhi. If you see across the street, there's a statue of a man called Muthupillai.
The first mayor?
The big mayor of Madurai, the legendary mayor of Madurai. So, of course, as a kid, I didn't know all this history.
What made you come back to your roots, come back to Madurai, decide to enter politics, take your father's steps,
I had done enough things in life that I felt I could devote the rest of my life to public service. And so I came back to follow in my ancestors' footsteps.
Yeah, it's the same curry, no?
Yeah, it's the same curry.
But the mutton
how they
is,
cook the mutton
it's
and
great.
how they select it.
When you talk about Madurai, it's largely seen as a DMK stronghold. You think that's going to change this time?
Between 16 and 19, the ADMK coalition lost 1 crore votes almost. We got 38 lakhs. TTV Dinakaran split about 24 lakhs. Makkal Needhi Mayam took about 20 lakhs. Naam Tamilar took about 15 lakhs, and the rest split in different ways. My analysis, my interviews, my kind of ground level, I'm the head of the IT wing, we do this across the state, is that the bulk of them were women. And the bulk of them felt that without Jayalalitha and with these guys violating and going against every principle of Jayalalitha. Jayalalitha said, Ladiya, Modiya. She said, as long as I live, the ADMK will never have a relationship with the BJP. So people left not because only of the lack of charisma that Jayalalitha brought, but also because the lack of values that Jayalalitha brought was no longer evident in Mr. Edappadi or his crew. If you ask me, I believe there is a bigger anti-incumbency wave in Tamil Nadu today than there was in 19.
Is this an ultimate referendum really on Stalin and his performance?
I would go the other way. Not only are we going to win this big, but we are going to win it so big that I don't think we should get overconfident based on the win. This win is mostly about them being bad. How we govern for the next 5 years will say whether it's about us in the next election, right?
Okay. Yeah. I think that's a very good point you made. You're someone, as you said, who's a pessimist. keeps all risks in mind, yet you're predicting a sweep. So I'm going to come to you post May 2nd.
Please do that.
And we'll discuss, we'll
Please
number
do that.
crunch
Please
so that
do
we
that.
get all the data and see which voter went where. If you've ever visited Chennai, or for that matter anywhere in Tamil Nadu, the first thing that hits you is the sense of culture, the sense of tradition that the people of the state have. And to give you a sense of how they vote as well as how inherent religion, culture and tradition is in their blood, take a look at this report that I filed from Chennai. Bharatanatyam, the beautiful dance form from Tamil Nadu, is loved and revered by Tamilians. On an early weekday morning in Chennai, these youngsters are hard at work. Their dancers have been doing this from when they were toddlers. Bharatanatyam is in their blood. If you're wondering what I'm doing at a Bharatanatyam center, it's because there's a very close link. And if you look at the love for Bharatanatyam in a state like Tamil Nadu, it explains the politics of the state and why they're so deeply entrenched in their traditions and in their culture, and perhaps explains why the Dravidian parties continue to be the top political choice for the people of Tamil Nadu. Even in a city like Chennai, there's a lot of pride in embracing culture and tradition. While they vote for Dravidian parties, they're also deeply religious.
People of Tamil Nadu have always been extremely devout, each in their own way, every class of society in their own particular way, but very mindful of tyoharams, of festivals, of utsavams. And even if you take other festivities in the interiors, there you'll find there is an utsavam on any day that you hit a city. There would be some utsavam. Kolam Poto, the kolams are everywhere. It's not just a Mylapore tradition, not just Brahmanical, it's everywhere. And that's an expression of the people.
Chennai is also seeing more and more youth returning to Indian tradition, choosing to dedicate their lives to an art form like Bharatanatyam.
So I was born in Toronto. What drew me to Chennai was, I think it was the vast amount of knowledge that these senior artists had. And it was this yearning to understand the art deeply that I think brought me here.
Culture has been a part of our family since I grew up, but what has kept me going is the fact that every day is a new learning here, and every day it's a journey about yourself. So this art gives you that kind of an internal journey where you're kind of, you discover yourself every day in an absolutely new frame every single time.
But with tradition being urbanized, the biggest concern for artists is how the arts has become politicized, freedom of expression curtailed, and more debates on what can and cannot be done.
I've been chairperson of the censor board, so I know a lot about that problem of interference by the government, if you like, interference by groups of people who feel that this is not good for my, sensibilities.
Freedom of expression is an issue that artists in Chennai are most definitely concerned about, and an issue that has also become a big poll plank in this election season. With video journalist Shivamurthy, Akshita Nandagopal for India Today. Welcome back. Let's get you what's happening in the state of Kerala. Gopi Aiden is getting you the latest ground reports. And here's an issue that's been talked about a lot in parts of Kerala about human-animal conflict. Here's a report on that from Gopi Aiden in Wayanad.
Wayanad, one of the most picturesque parts of Kerala. The district recently shot to fame when Rahul Gandhi contested and won the parliamentary elections in 2019 from here. Known for its tea gardens and lush greens, 83.3% of Wayanad's area is classified as forest. And its population of 8.47 lakh people mostly belong to tribal communities.
On my left are the houses in which the people belonging to various tribes exist in this region. Most of them are these days dependent on daily wage works, for which they go for the work in the morning and come back only by the evening. Even though they have a properly built house, many of them are still dependent on the resources which lies towards my right-hand side. Hardly some 200 meters from the houses that you just saw begins the fence of the forest. This is part of the Wayanad Reserve Forest in the district, which separates the human population area with an electric fence. Often these people have to enter inside the forest area to grab some firewood to ensure that their kitchens are running. Now this is where the point of conflict begins.
Manu's 24-year-old brother used to go to the forest to collect firewood. One day, he didn't come back.
എല്ലാവരും ഒരുമിച്ച് പിറകിനൊക്കെ പോകും. അന്ന് എന്തോ ഇതിന് അവൻ ഒറ്റയ്ക്കാണ് കയറി പോയത്. നമ്മളെ റേഞ്ചർ ശശികുമാർ സാർ ഞാൻ വിളിച്ച് പറഞ്ഞു, സാർ ഇങ്ങനെ ഒരു ആളെ കാണാനുമില്ല, അപ്പോൾ കടുവൻ്റെ കാൽപ്പാട് ഇവിടെ ഉണ്ട്. കുറച്ചുകൂടെ അങ്ങോട്ട് ഉള്ളോട്ട് തിരിഞ്ഞ് പോകുമ്പോൾ പിന്നെ കടുവനെയും കണ്ട് ഇവനിങ്ങനെ തിന്ന് എല്ലാം തിന്ന് കഴിഞ്ഞിട്ട് ലാസ്റ്റ് എല്ലിലുള്ളതൊക്കെ കുറച്ചുണ്ടായിരുന്നു, അത് മാത്രം തിന്നുകൊണ്ടിരിക്കുകയായിരുന്നു.
Posted in these jungles, Range Officer Sasikumar is himself a survivor of wild animal attacks. On 10th of January this year, while looking for a tiger that had strayed into human settlements, Sasikumar came face to face with the wild and scared animal.
അവിടെ ഞാൻ ഫോണിൽ സംസാരിച്ചുകൊണ്ടിരിക്കുന്ന സമയത്ത് എവിടെയാണ് ഇങ്ങനെ അന്വേഷിച്ചുകൊണ്ടിരിക്കുന്ന സമയത്താണ് പെട്ടെന്ന് ജസ്റ്റ് ഈ കടുവ എൻ്റെ നേരാക്കുന്നത്. ഈ രണ്ട് ടീമിന് ഏറ്റവും ഫ്രണ്ടിൽ ഞാനായിരുന്നു. അപ്പോൾ ഓട്ടോമാറ്റിക്കായിട്ട് ഓടുന്ന സമയത്ത് ലാസ്റ്റ് ഞാനായിരിക്കും. അപ്പോൾ അതും എന്തോ ഒരു ഭാഗ്യത്തിന് അതിൽ എൻ്റെ ഹെൽമെറ്റൊക്കെ തെറിച്ചു പോയായിരുന്നു.
64-year-old Gopi is a subsistence farmer dependent entirely on the small patch of land that he owns close to the forest area. He says wild boars pose the greatest threat to his livelihood.
ഇറങ്ങിക്കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ അന്നേരം അവർക്ക് സമയത്ത് വന്നിട്ട് ഇത് കുത്തിക്കളയും. പന്നി ഇറങ്ങിക്കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ അവരവിടെ പറഞ്ഞു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ എന്താ പറയുക, അതിനെ ഓടിച്ചു വിടുക, അതിനെ കൊല്ലാനോ പിടിക്കാനോ നിൽക്കരുത് എന്നാണ് പറയുന്നത്. ഇത് പിന്നെ അവരോട് പറഞ്ഞു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ അതിനുള്ള ആനുകൂല്യം തരുമില്ല.
The proximity of residential areas with the forest often leads to these man-animal conflicts. And as long as the pressure of population keeps impinging on the land of the animals, the conflict will continue. According to the local forest department, at least 25 people have lost their lives in the last 5 years in multiple incidents of animal attacks in Wayanad.
Gopi Etan also visited Talasheri district of Kerala. For any of you who's been there, you know what it's famous for. He found out what goes into the making of the very, very famous dum biryani.
Talasheri in Kannur district is known across the world for its authentic biryani. This biryani, made with a fusion of ethnic spices from the region, has attracted thousands and thousands of people from across the globe. Having said this, this region also has a lot of importance while speaking about the colonial era of the country. Like this fort where I am standing, there are many such contributions which were made by the foreigners because this acted as an important trade link between the Europeans and the people of the state.
Talasheri's dum biryani is regarded as one of the most flavorful variant of biryanis.
I'm going to show you the whole process of preparation, making from the first scratch to the final point of plating a Talasheri dum biryani. So I will find out what's inside.
The kitchen at Rara Avis never sleeps and work starts at 5 in the morning. On an average day, the restaurant sells about 500 to 700 plates of biryani. This requires large quantities of onions, tomatoes, and spices.
Explain, what is this chicken?
This is chicken, leg on chicken, that prepared locally known as Talisiri biryani.
Okay. So what is speciality of lagoon chicken? Why do we choose lagoon?
It will take time to prepare, more than 1.5 years to complete the food.
This special chicken comes from Namakkal in Tamil Nadu.
What is this masala that we are using?
We are using only normal local masala, only ginger, garlic, tomato, onion or garam masala.
Talisiri biryani is prepared exclusively using the small fine kaima or jeera kashala rice. And this rice is sourced from faraway West Bengal.
Now we have the rice which needs to be cooked. So the water is boiling. Can you, sir, please explain what are the things that is going inside?
Local garam masala, pata, grambo, yelaga, and biryani pasta.
After 3 hours of effort, the Talisiri biryani is now ready to be served.
That is one Talisiri dum biryani, which we have been preparing from as early as around 6:30, 7 in the morning from Talisiri at this hotel at Radha Avis here in Kannur. With camera person Tinku Rajshekharan, Gopi Krishnan, Talisiri for India Today.
And this is Chennai Singapore signing off on the special broadcaster on India Today. Same time tomorrow, I'll be getting you the latest updates from right here at Tamil Nadu, Puducherry and of course Kerala. Thank you very much for watching.
Hello everyone, this is Rahul Kamal here. Hope you enjoyed this video. For the latest news and analysis, like and subscribe the India Today YouTube channel and don't forget to press the bell icon to stay updated.